This mobilization is specific to the lumbar spine, although you're obviously going to include the entire spinal column at some level, as well as the lower extremity. Attempts at trying to mobilize your lumbar spine without first normalizing both hip joints is going to be short-term and not highly recommended. There are times that you can go ahead and go to the lumbar spine when it's extremely symptomatic, and it will help you. But from a chronic perspective, long-term perspective, it's critical that you first balance out the iliofemoral joints. And we have many videos on this website that share with you how to do that. So, taking from the posterior lateral hip mobilization, we're going to then progress. So let's just say hypothetically, you have gone through your right side and your left side in the posterior lateral hip mobilizations, and you have normalized them. Because once again, if they're asymmetric, what's going to happen is the blocks above, to make this simple, are going to be out of alignment. So attempts at going right at them is usually a very short-term result. We're looking for long-term results with this. So what I'm going to share with you is this. Once we're in position, we've normalized our iliofemoral joints or our hip joints, we're going to do what's called a three-dimensional distraction for the lumbar spine with an emphasis on the left side for demonstration purposes, although the same directions can be used for the right side with the appropriate movements. You just have to switch sides. So what we need to do, if we see these facet joints, these spinal joints jammed up, they're overly compressed, that's usually somebody that says, I just feel a lot of compression on that left side. Just looking at this model, it's very easy to see. We need to flex to open up. You'll see there's an opening here. We need to flex the spine. We need to laterally bend it over to the right to open up the left in the frontal plane. And then we need to rotate to the left to open up the left side in the transverse plane. Now it is true on the right side, you'll see it actually compresses. So if you were to switch sides, just while we have the model here, we would still flex. If I wanted to open up the right side, we would just have to lateral bend to the left and rotate to the right. And what that does, it opens up the right side. We are going to demonstrate right now the left side. So as a recap, I need to, once in position, flex my spine, laterally bend it to the right, rotate it to the left. So here I will demonstrate. So I first get up in the posterior lateral hip mobilization that you can see in the other videos. Once I've normalized this, I've gotten through the connective tissue posterior laterally, I'm now going to take my right hand right in the hip joint space, and I'm going to push down. It creates a distraction. So the bottom part's being pulled down via my push. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of flexion. It's almost like you just take your belly button and you bring it in. That's going to create a sagittal plane or an anterior opening of the facet joints. Take my left hand up as far as possible, and I'm going to reach over. At the same time I reach over with my left hand to the right, opening those joints up, I'm pushing down with my right hand. So it's up as high as possible. You don't want your elbow bent, you want it straight because you want to pull that connective tissue as high as possible. Get up, 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 over to the right, and then push down with your hand. Once I have that, I can then slide my hand to more of my forearm, and I can rotate to the left. And then I can add more flexion. Rotate nice and slow. This is a very smooth, fluid type motion. If I see a person move too fast, it usually looks like you're hinging at your back. So let's recap. We're in this position. We've already accomplished the extensibility bilaterally in the hips. We take our hand, we push down. Take our left hand. It's going apart from the right hand. So think of two hands going apart from one another. I can add a little bit of flexion. Then I go lateral bending to the right. And then I rotate to the left. And then I can add a little bit more flexion. You're going to have to play with what planes, what directions work best for you. When you bring the leg down, shake it out. and you can repeat these directions on the opposite side. I'm going to emphasize once again, because it is critically important, make sure you first do your hip mobilization first, right, left, then add in this lumbar spine mobilization. Another mobilization that would be very beneficial to these is the spinal traction one that we gave you in our video library. Take it nice and slow. If you have any individual questions, please contact us.